Welcome to Chatter Talks, the podcast where we unravel stories that dig deep into the heart of society and the human experience. Today, I want to take you on a journey through a story that feels as real as it is profound. It's about topics we often ignore or overlook, yet they shape the very fabric of our lives. Settle in, because this isn't just a story, it's a mirror into our world. The Forgotten War. Imagine this. A soldier stands alone in the desert, surrounded by silence. Not the kind of silence that feels peaceful, but the kind that weighs heavy, filled with memories of everything he's lost. His name is Daniel. He's just returned from a war nobody talks about. A conflict buried in history books, overshadowed by larger battles and political agendas. Daniel comes home, but the war doesn't leave him. He sits at his family dinner table, staring at the people he loves, yet feeling like a stranger. PTSD they call it, but what does that really mean? For Daniel, it's the sound of a child's laughter suddenly turning into the echo of gunfire. It's the guilt of surviving when so many didn't. It's watching his son grow up, wondering if he'll ever feel worthy enough to be called a father. This story isn't just about one man. It's about the countless veterans who come back from wars that aren't even remembered. They fight two battles, the one abroad and the one within. And yet, their stories rarely make the headlines. How often do we pause to think about them? To ask what we can do to help? The Mirror Society. Now let me take you somewhere else. Into a world that feels eerily familiar, yet entirely foreign. Imagine a society where fairness is no longer a choice, it's enforced. Everyone is required to spend 1 year living the life of someone less fortunate. Wealthy CEOs suddenly find themselves on the streets. Politicians live in the shoes of the citizens they claim to represent. It's called the Mirror Society, where you truly see what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes. Meet Rachel, a corporate lawyer who spent her life defending billion-dollar companies. When her time in the Mirror Society begins, she finds herself living as a single mother working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. At first she's angry at the system, angry at the inconvenience. But as days turn into months, she starts to understand the people she once dismissed as lazy or undeserving. And by the time her year is over, Rachel is no longer the same person. Now here's the question this story poses. What if we were all forced to see life from someone else's perspective? Would it make us more empathetic? More understanding? Or would it just create resentment? What do you think? The Last Island. Let's shift gears to the future. A future that doesn't seem too far off. Picture this, the world as we know it is gone. Rising sea levels have swallowed entire cities. Natural disasters have reshaped the map. The only place left to live is a tiny island, barely holding on against the relentless waves. They call it the Last Island. The story follows 3 characters. Amara, a scientist desperate to find a solution. Liam, a fisherman trying to keep his family alive. And Zara, a young girl who dreams of a world she's never seen. They each have their struggles, but their lives intersect in ways that force them to question what it means to survive, and at what cost. The Last Island isn't just a story about climate change. It's about the choices we make every day that ripple into the future. It's about the sacrifices people are willing to make when everything is on the line. And it makes you wonder, if you were one of the last people on Earth, what kind of legacy would you leave behind? Echoes of the Past. Now here's a story that might hit closer to home. It's called Echoes of the Past. This one follows Maya, a woman in her 30s who stumbles upon an old box of letters while cleaning out her grandmother's attic. At first, it seems like harmless family memorabilia. But as she starts reading, she uncovers a history she never knew existed. Her family's survival during a brutal political regime. The letters reveal the trauma her grandmother endured, but also the strength it took to rebuild her life. As Maya pieces together the past, she starts to understand the tension in her family, the unspoken pain that's been passed down through generations. But this isn't just Maya's story. It's a story about all of us, about how the struggles of those before us shape who we are today. Here's a question to think about. What would you find if you dug into your family's history? Would it change the way you see yourself? Closing thoughts. Each of these stories leaves us with more than just entertainment. They leave us with questions. About empathy. about resilience, about the world we're creating, and the legacies we're leaving behind. So, which story resonated with you the most? Is it Daniel's struggle as a forgotten veteran? The Mirror Society's lesson in empathy? The Last Island's fight for survival? Or Maya's journey into her family's past? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Until next time, this is Chatter Talks, where stories become mirrors to our world. Stay curious and stay kind.